Why, hello there, Nice Chair here, and as you can see, you're looking at two knives today, so it's not a review. I do hope this video finds you well, regardless of what I'm doing, but we're going to do a comparison between the original, and original, this is the old Denim Micarta D2 early model Penguin versus its updated counterpart in the Glyde Lock Penguin. I think there's a few things that should be noted here that most of it's an upgrade. There are a few things, though. Alright, so, just a quick comparison is what we're doing. Or, well, knowing me, it might not be quick. But either way, it's going to be thorough. So, hopefully you like what you see. Consider liking and subscribing. I will link both of these knives as, while this was absolutely terrible, it has actually somehow improved a little bit over the years. I think I can reasonably link both of these knives, or at least there's an updated version with ball bearings in the pivot. I'll see what I can find to link on the regular Penguin. Should you be interested in, purchasing or checking out the knives or seeing what variants and stuff like that. Just out of, transparency, the Amazon links, I have, an Amazon associate, so I get a tiny bit if you buy anything from the Amazon link or go through the Amazon link and then put something in your cart and purchase it. I should get something. That would be greatly appreciated, and it would help the channel get more stuff in and stuff like that. But any other links, if I do link, I'm just linking because I think it's a good knife. I don't have any other links that will support me. I don't have the share sale and stuff like that. Not big enough to worry about that sort of stuff. So if I'm linking, it's probably because it's good in my opinion. We're checking out. Now, since I just went on a complete tangent that has nothing to do with these knives, let's get into the knives, shall we? Okay, both knives of the QSP Penguin are same size. There is, of course, an extra large, and I think there's a small Penguin, but the base models here, base Glyde Lock, base Penguin, same exact size. That's a dog in the background. I don't know what he has to say, but he's going to say it regardless of what we do and think about it. So we'll just have to hear him out. Both sheep's foot blades, same pretty much proportions completely. Though I will say, weirdly enough, behind the edge, this one feels just a tiny bit thicker. Just to the hand. Just a little bit. And when I have used the calipers to check, this one's like 14 thousandths and this one's like 15 thousandths. That's such a minor variance that could probably just, that's just a grind difference, like someone ground it. And this one's actually misground a little bit, the new ones. So that could just be that. They're probably basically identical in actual blade shape, function, everything like that. Of course, they're not identical in blade steel, as this one is D2 and this one is 14C28N. So you're basically trading some edge retention if it's decently heat treated, and I think this one actually is, for corrosion resistance and toughness. Most people are probably going to be pretty happy with the 14C28N change. It does tend to be slightly more expensive of a blade steel than D2. Like, sometimes you can find D2 on the really cheap crap, where 14C28N, usually you start getting into at least reputable companies finding it, right? So, give or take, it's probably good. This, the new one does have the code for the knife on the blade, which, the original didn't have, so I don't know why they didn't do that on the original. I prefer it that way, but I don't know why they decided to change it. The finishes are different, and I will say they look pretty darn good, both of them. They're both good, though. I do like the the new one more. The finish for the belt satin is like a very frosty white kind of hazy belt satin. Darn near identical, but the sideways horizontal satin on the flats for the old one is replaced with this snow flurry frosty satin, or stonewash, sorry. And this looks really good. I really like that. That's a really nice finish. They did a really good job there. The plunge grind is also better on the new one, where it's, I mean, they of course had to cut out a bit of this material to accommodate the crossbar lock itself, whereas of course they didn't on the first one. They did give you the nub to act as a stop, which I do love the nub. Always love the nub. Support the nub. This makes for just generally good design when you have a little nub there, because you can usually put your stop pin behind it, so it's not a problem for cutting and sharpening trails. And oftentimes, if you have a knife that drops, of course this being on phosphor bronze is not the case, but it often acts as a catch. So yeah, I like a lot of knives when they have little tang nubs there. But beside the point, the plunge grind is much better on the new one, where it's like, I mean, it's basically here on this one, straight up into the edge, and I have not sharpened this. This really needs it, though. Plunge grind gives you a decent amount of life, but both of them you can technically cut in more sharpening tool and do whatever you want, so it's a win, but kind of a slightly sideways one. Both of these knives have full steel liners in them, though this one's a little bit hard to see as they are nested inside there, which is nice. This one has also got some weight reduction, which, while this one doesn't, they weigh almost exactly the same. In fact, let's see. I know this one, I just weighed this one, should be around 3.19, yeah. And this one I think is 3.24. Okay, so yeah. The original was actually technically slightly heavier, but so little weight difference. They feel basically the same. And that is actually kind of impressive considering the extra amount of material and stuff. Like, they have a big plate here, they have a bigger clip on this one, they have the bearings and all of the crossbar lock mechanism stuff in there. This weight reduction they've done on their liners has brought it down to being pretty much identical, and the balance points on both is right here in the basic grip. They've done a good job to making them feel interchangeable in a lot of ways. This one, of course, is a liner lock with good access, though I don't like the jimped liner, never do. It's actually not too bad on this nozzle, which is, I'm assuming, why partly it was popular. I mean, if it was sharp or something, it would probably be a problem, but it's not. Of course, the biggest change being the Axis crossbar style lock, though, again, they have done an updated version of this old Penguin with bearings in the pivot. That's, I mean, kind of bridges the gap between these two, right? Maybe I'll have to get one of those in to check out, just the updated one, now that I want to see how they did, since they've clearly kind of improved a bit. Because this was not acceptable when I got it. It had multiple phosphor bronze washers in the pivot. It was off. The action was horrible. It was just, it felt like crazy nonsense. It has somehow improved a bit. I mean, it's still off center, but it's actually gotten more centered and less play and stuff like that over the years as just sort of breaking in, but it's taken years to do. And this was the better QSP compared to the other ones that I had gotten and sent back, because they were horrifying. And in fact, one of them did like a substantial deep bite into my finger, because it was just completely busted. But this is like the first one from QSP that I can say is a good knife, and I'm kind of interested to see if they've just in general improved now. Why did I have to go and buy this, and now I'm going to want to buy more? God darn it. The old catch-22 of being addicted to something. Oh, this is horrible. Let's stay away from them. I'm not even tempted to buy them. Oh, this one's actually good. Maybe I should look into buying them. Crap. Yeah. Back to the knives. Handle. Handle is the same proportions. I will say that while they did give you very nicely rounded on the original, the contouring on this one, which is not on the original, combined with the rounding and softening that they did on the edges, makes for an even more, like, comfortable grip with the handle. This was pretty good, mind you, but it is better. It does feel better with the contouring in it. It just feels more natural and nicer to hold on to. The jimping is improved. They did different jimping on each one. This one does nothing. This one actually, if you push into it, does give some traction. This doesn't give so much traction, but this actually does give a little bit of traction, which, I mean, I don't know if that serves a purpose or anything like that, but it's there. But this, yeah, the jimping's actually better. They've updated, improved, upgraded in general there. Let us move from the handle now, which I didn't. This is decent micarta, right? It's super slick and it's like almost it's not polished, but it's super slick. It doesn't have a lot of micarta feel to it, but this is good micarta. I really like this material. This G10. The new one, the Glyde Lock one, comes in this material and plastic FRN for like $50, which is not my favorite thing in the world, but this is $66, and I'm taking this all day, honestly. But they've definitely done a good job finishing in general, but I think this is starting to show that they can do a little bit more with the contouring and stuff. It's good. Now we get to a downside, a comparison point where I think the original soundly beats the new one, and that is in the pocket clip. This pocket clip it's not awful. There's not really hot spots, but it's not comfortable. As you can see, it is thick, it is chunky. I will give them credit. The original has button screws underneath. This has flat screws. That is objective better. Yes. But this is a wider clip. It doesn't, fade off, or words today, I guess. It has a flat at the end instead of just continuous rise, even though I think this one could have probably been just slightly less tall with the continuous rise. Yeah, where this one actually is like super comfortable in the hand and almost completely disappears, except occasionally when you grip it on it, you can feel the tip here, which is again why I think it could be just a tiny bit shorter and still function fine. This is really comfortable. This knife, despite the extra lengths of comfort they put into contouring the dang thing, no matter what you do, that clip is there. Very much so there. I am not a super fan of this clip at all. I really don't know why they changed the clip. This is just better. It works better, it sits better. It's not quite as tall, but because the way they attach this clip, where they actually have it go in from the tail end, while this one just, sits on the plate. They're both deep carry clips. They both provide decent pocket pulling retention. They're definitely sitting really low, but yeah. I do like how they slotted this one in, which would have been a nice thing to do here. They would have alleviated the need for this plate. But if they didn't think they could do that because they nestled the liners, which makes sense if there's no room in there, right, for them to do it like this, they can stick with doing this, but just better clip. This one's better. Which is kind of a weird downgrade on the newer one when you had something that worked pretty well. I wonder if they're... No, they probably won't be interchangeable. Or if they are, they're going to mess with the placement of the stupid screws and everything like that. Yeah, unfortunately not. I will definitely be most certainly likely be trying to find out to see if I can get a different clip on this thing, because it's just not very good. It's not very comfortable. There's not really any hot spots unless you go hammer grip back here. I typically go up here where there's none, but this is the only place where I'm getting like a little bit of what I would consider a hot spot, which is right in here. I don't like the clip. The lanyard hole's a little bit smaller from the old to the new. I don't know if that matters. And the final thing that I want to mention, of course, bearings and phosphor bronze in the pivot, so action is going to be very different. But thumb studs. I think you can pretty much tell there's a substantial difference with the thumb studs here. Heck, even where they didn't cut out this side, there's a substantial difference with the thumb studs here. And again, these are vastly better. I don't know why they did this with the thumb studs. They moved them down, because you can see that these actually sit very close to the top of the blade. They moved them down into basically touching the scales, and they changed up the shape. These ones are not only a bit smaller, these are a little bit like bigger radius, diameter, whatever you want to call it. The steps that are milled into around this thing don't protrude quite as much on this one, and there's no top cap. These, they work. There's no doubt about that. But they do not feel like you're going to get the kind of purchase, or you can't build up the same kind of tension, right? You can't, even though this one doesn't, this one actually has milling to alleviate and go down into the studs. Well, this one's just flat. You can just get into and around this stud better. And I get that the only reason I cut this out was because of the lock bar access, which is, thankfully they did that. But you just can get behind this stud better. You can get behind and on top of and around this stud because it not only sticks slightly higher than the scales, which this one does not. It's pretty even with the, maybe it's just a tiny bit taller with the top of the scales, where the highest point is. It makes it a lot easier to get your finger right on it and throw it, despite it being tight and on phosphor bronze and everything. This one, coming at it, I feel like I'm going to slip off, yes. I can get it right there. I just slipped off. But occasionally I do. You just occasionally sort of, and if I go up here, I just don't feel like I have the leverage or anything to contact with. Fortunately, I can still do it, and using your nails kind of like the best. See, even that though sometimes it feels awkward. You already have the crossbar lock being kind of where you want to put your fingers, so you have to adjust from that. Plus, you have less grippy thumb studs in a tighter position. You can't get behind them or underneath them as well. Yeah, I really like these thumb studs from the original much better. I just feel like I can get better grip on them. And they feel a little tiny bit sharper. It's mostly just the apex of this cap that they put on that's sharper, which is of course just completely absent here. But yeah, I think smaller thumb studs at least moved away from the scale a little bit, with maybe a little bit sharper edges here, would just be unequivocally better. So the original beats it in actuation and pocket clip, which is pretty substantial, honestly. Right? Like, those are two things that are definitely going to be noticeable and come into play. I mean, it's how you interface with the knife and how the knife basically interfaces with you in your pocket. I do hope they make some adjustments here. I still think this is a good knife. I still think this is a better knife. I mean, as you can see, I'm still not pretty much mostly failing it, and it's not uncomfortable, but well, they win some, and I guess they decided to, for some reason, lose some. But they could make this an even better knife, is what I'm kind of getting at. I think that's pretty much all the comparisons that are relevant and need to be made here. And I think that there was reason to do that, because I definitely wanted to highlight some of the changes, and some of the smart moves and some of the not so smart moves. Comparison is over. I am done. I thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I'm just going to end things. See ya.